Well, good morning and welcome back to the Broadcast Retirement Network. I'm Jeff Snyder, and this is BRN AM for Thursday, October 29th, 2020. And our top story today, existing home sales soared in September, and a new credit card may revolutionize perks in the industry. Well, joining me now to discuss this and more is Jacob Passy. He's a real estate and travel reporter with Dow Jones Market Watch. Jacob, welcome back to the program. Great to see you this morning.
Glad to be here.
Great to see you as always. So let's start off because you cover a lot of different things, not just real estate. You cover travel. We're going to get into reward cards in the second segment, some developments there. But let's talk about home prices. This is something that you're very passionate about tracking. What can you tell us in terms of the latest home data?
Yeah, so the National Association of Realtors this week put out their latest report regarding existing home sales, which is for the month of September. So back in September, existing home sales were up. Lots of folks are still flooding the market, encouraged by low interest rates. But what's happening right now is there are just so few homes on the market. The number of homes at the end of September was the lowest on record since the National Association of Realtors has been tracking that data. It's a 2.7 month supply of homes. They measure them in month supply, 6 months being the goal. That's kind of an indicator of a balanced market between supply and demand. So, lots of folks are buying homes and they're buying up all the available inventory. And what that is doing is it's pushing prices up quite a bit. So prices rose 15% year over year in September, and that is the largest annual increase that the National Association of Realtors has reported since 2005. So we're talking about record-setting market right now.
And Jacob, you mentioned the lack of supply. We have talked here on the podcast about new homes and homes being created. Where are we in that cycle? Because it would seem to me that we need to increase supply. Obviously that we need home builders to do that.
Right. Yeah. Home building is happening at a feverish pace. It's also record setting, fastest pace since, the before the Great Recession we're seeing right now. But the issue is, there's just been such a gap for so long now. So, after the Great Recession, the home building sector really took a beating. They were really slow to, get back up to speed. And that's in part because a lot of those companies that, were building prospectively, they were building homes that they hadn't sold yet. So they were building, I grew up in Florida. I lived in Florida during, the housing bust. And, all around were these gated communities that were empty. And so they had to sell off all that inventory before they could start building new homes. And that took so long that they really didn't get back up to speed until now. And so we've gone, over a decade basically without seeing much home building happening. Meanwhile, folks are getting married, having kids. So we're hundreds of thousands, if not millions of homes behind where we need to be. So while home building is picking up now that the market is favorable for it, the gap is such that, a balanced market is going to be, very tough to achieve.
And in terms of, you mentioned people not being able to have access to homes. What does this mean for first-time home buyers? Are they being set aside? We've talked on this program and elsewhere about the greater scrutiny of those who are looking to get a mortgage. But what about those first-time home buyers? As you said, maybe they're moving out into the suburbs. Maybe they're buying their first home. They're going to plan a family. Are they just kind of being shut out and locked out of this market?
It's really tough to be a first-time home buyer right now. You don't have, as someone who already owns a home, if you're trying to buy a new home, you can, use the proceeds of the sale of your home to fund a down payment and all that stuff. You probably already have a mortgage, so you're very credit worthy, and it's much, much easier. If you're a first-time home buyer, typically you have a lower credit score, and you don't have as much saved up usually. And when we're talking about, 15% year-over-year price increases, that means you have to save that much more for a down payment, which makes it that much harder to get into a home. So this is all also happening, in a world where mortgage lenders and servicers were dealing with a massive wave of forbearance requests. Mortgage lenders are still getting tons of refinance applications, and so they can be stingy right now. They don't need to do loans to just about anyone. The interest rate environment is so favorable right now that tons of creditworthy folks are also in the market. So if you're a first-time home buyer who's less creditworthy, it's going to be really hard to get a mortgage, and it's going to make it that much more difficult to get a home.
And I would expect that if you can't buy a home, you're going to be either renting or you're renting an Airbnb or something, somewhere in between. Have we seen a recovery at all in the rental market? I know that a lot of landlords, we've talked about this, landlords and renters both suffering a lot of pain during this pandemic. What's the shape of that marketplace?
So the rental market is still in a bind. Lots of renters across the country have been unable to keep up with their monthly payments. And, there's the national eviction moratorium in effect, although there are even gaps in that. So we're seeing thousands of people being evicted nationwide. And as people are not paying their rent, that's less money for the landlords. And so, landlords are in a bind right now as well. We're seeing rents falling in major cities, to be sure. New York, San Francisco, places like that, rents are falling quite substantially. It's, less so the case in smaller markets and in suburbs and things like that. But, you're in a somewhat good position as a renter if you are able to afford your monthly payments right now. And if you want to get, into a new rental unit, you can really, advocate for yourself and, find a deal. There are lots of, developers who, have large buildings, especially in the multifamily part of the rental market. You're seeing those sorts of deals where you can get a month off rent or, other bargains, especially if you sign longer leases and things like that. So, if you're able to keep up with things right now, you're in a good position, but certainly a lot of renters haven't been able to do so. Yeah,
absolutely. Well, Jacob, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to switch gears when we come back. We're going to talk about some new developments in rewards cards. You're going to want to stay tuned right here on BRN AM. Imagine a new television network that will make you richer, healthier, and in control of your financial future. This network is for the policewoman in Nashville, Tennessee, the baker in Dubuque, Iowa, the teacher in Lexington, Kentucky. We want to make the idea of savings and retirement culturally relevant. But what do you see as a defining issue of the midterms, especially for the smaller businesses? I mean, they are the lifeblood of the American economy. Featuring exclusive interviews, current affairs, and docuseries. 33 years old, you retired early.
The philosophy is money only matters if it helps you live a life that you love.
But you got to start thinking about retirement as soon as you get in.
The Broadcast Retirement Network will drive very high engagement with premium partnerships. So this isn't retirement and savings for your parents or grandparents. This is for all Americans. And we're going to change the way you think about money. Welcome to the next frontier of retirement and savings. This is BRN, the Broadcast Retirement Network.
Hi folks, Joe Namath here, and if you're on Medicare, this is important. You're now entitled to eliminate copays and get dental care, dentures, eyeglasses, prescription coverage, in-home aids, unlimited transportation, and home-delivered meals, all at no additional cost. Plus, your zip code may have coverage with the Give Back benefit that adds money back to your Social Security check every month. Look, with the uncertainty of the virus and vaccines, you need to get everything you're entitled to. Here's the bottom line. Call to get significant benefits at no additional cost and see if your zip code has coverage with the Give Back benefit. Millions of people have trusted the Medicare Coverage Helpline. You can too. Call now. It's free.
Call 1-800-924-3920. That's 1-800-924-3920.
Welcome back. We're talking to Jacob Passy of Dow Jones Market Watch. Jacob, thank you so much for staying with us this morning.
Glad to still be here.
Absolutely. So we're going to shift gears. We're going to leave mortgages and talk about rewards cards, because that is a marketplace like any other, and there have been some real developments there. What can you tell us?
So the rewards credit card space is going through a lot of upheaval at the moment. A lot of the big deal credit cards, the Chase Sapphires, the Amex Gold cards, are less attractive right now because they're travel oriented. And obviously travel is not as popular right now because of the pandemic. Lots of folks haven't been able to take advantage of, the benefits of those cards in terms of, free checked bags or, credits towards, travel expenses, things like that. And obviously also a lot of the spending typically with those cards that generates the rewards was also travel oriented. You got a better bang for your buck when you were booking airfare and things like that. So the world has changed a lot, and those credit cards have changed with it. They're rewarding different things right now. The Chase Sapphire, for instance, it has now boosted the cash back that they give or the points back that they give for restaurant purchases, takeout, delivery, things like that, as well as supermarket purchases. But for a lot of folks who have these cards, that's a bummer because you're paying a pretty steep annual fee for them usually. Yep. And, you're not getting all the bang for your buck. Meanwhile, at the kind of other end of the market for, kind of first-time card holders, there was the splashy debut just this month of the Venmo credit card. So Venmo is the payment sharing app where you can, pay your friends back for, split expenses like a bar tab or things like that. It's really popular with younger adults, Gen Z, millennials. And in the past, they had debuted a debit card, and now they've got a credit card. And what they've done with their credit card, it is a rewards card, but it has a kind of interesting setup to its rewards. So rather than having set categories that give you, points back or cash back, they do it in a personalized manner. So each month, the credit card will automatically examine your spending and will determine, where you're spending the most money. So you'll get 4% back on your top category from a range of categories that the app will automatically choose from. So, 4% back on your top category, 3% on the next, and then I think it's either 2 or 1% on the rest. I forget the exact details, but, that's a different model than we've really seen. There have been credit cards here and there where there were revolving categories, but this is one of the biggest debuts of a personalized rewards program that we've seen. And that could really change the market moving forward.
It sounds like they're almost in a way using artificial intelligence or some level of algorithm to say, oh, well, Jeff Snyder buys a lot of gas, drives his car around, let's give him more rewards there versus maybe I don't shop at Best Buy or buy electronics as much.
Exactly.
Am I right about that?
Yeah, no, you're totally right. It is the kind of entry of AI machine learning into the rewards credit card space, which could really serve to the benefit of credit card holders. I mean, when I spoke with experts, one of my big questions was, is this going to take off? Because this isn't the first card we've seen in recent years that's debuted that's tried to change things up. So like the Apple Card, for instance, they're kind of twist on credit card rewards as they offered daily cash back. So usually you have to let it accrue over a set period of time before you can cash it out or whatever. But with the Apple Card, they give you your cash back into an Apple Money account automatically. It happens right after purchase, and you can use that money on the go, and they kind of have a similar function to Venmo when it comes to splitting payments, so you can pay friends back with that money, et cetera. So we're seeing different credit cards that, cater to tech savvy younger adults try these new things that are all kind of automated AI machine learning based. And that's a big deal because, as a lot of the folks who are getting these cards get used to them and used to these benefits, they're going to expect that of all credit cards. So when we're talking about the Venmo card, that's going to be really popular with folks who are, in their 20s. It may even be their first credit card because it's going to be easier for them to qualify for that card than, say, the Chase Sapphires of the world. And so when they have that as their first credit card, you develop an attachment to it and you expect those things out of your next credit card. If you're going to give up space in your wallet, you want it to be serving you as best as possible. So if they're used to things being personalized and not having to do all the thinking that's involved with, gaming a Chase Sapphire card or an Amex Gold card, then, the Chases and Amexes of the world are going to turn around and probably start infusing some of those elements into their own cards. So it wouldn't be surprising to see in the next few years, Chase Sapphire offering some more personalized options and things like that.
Jacob, we have talked in the past about rewards having expiration dates, and I think of my Chase account that I have where I have miles that I've accrued. Any developments there given the pandemic? I'm just thinking about if Jeff Snyder's not traveling with his wife or going elsewhere for work, he's working remotely now. Will I lose those miles? Is it just real? I mean, what are you seeing in terms of the being able to hold on to some of these rewards that you've accrued?
So credit card issuers have definitely been more flexible with things as a result of the pandemic, especially when it comes to travel-related rewards. And we're seeing, I think you've seen some airlines, when it comes to loyalty status, relax things so you don't have to necessarily travel or spend as much to maintain your status. Because a lot of folks just, for an extended period of time, we weren't even really allowed to travel in a lot of cases. And a lot of airlines are seeing a pickup in business, but it's nowhere near what we saw a year ago. So, travel is still down. One thing to be aware of, though, especially for folks who have credit card rewards that are tied to airline miles, is one risk that we could see in the future, and I'm not saying this is definitely going to happen by any means, but if there is an instance where an airline goes bankrupt, you'll lose those miles. Yep. Basically. They don't tend to have cash value. It's not like, if you've bought an airline ticket and the airline goes bankrupt, you'll get money back, but your airline miles don't have value outside of that airline. And so unless the airline were to be bought out by another airline or something like that, you might just fully lose those miles. And if it is bought out by an airline, then your miles would probably be converted over to their plan, which may or may not benefit you as much.
Yeah, I think a lot of people equate miles and these rewards as cash value, and they're really not cash value on the balance sheet at the end of the day. They're a promise or a gift in a way, but if that entity goes under or gets bought, you may not have that gift anymore. It all comes down to what's in the contract. Well, Jacob, it's a pleasure as always talking to you. We really enjoy the conversation about interest rates and mortgages and homes and all things credit cards, and appreciate you coming on, and we look forward to having you on again very soon.
Hope to be back soon.
And that wraps up this episode of BRN AM. Have a topic of interest or someone you think we should talk to? Drop us a line. And don't forget, for all the news in retirement, markets, technology, personal finance, so much more, check out today's edition of our newsletter, The Morning Pulse. And today I want to wish my mother, Helen, a very happy birthday. Love you so much, Mom. Have a great day. So until tomorrow, I'm Jeff Snyder. Stay safe, keep on saving, and don't forget, roll with the changes.
Are you being audited? And do you owe the IRS $10,000 or more in back taxes? Is the IRS threatening to take more of your money? Don't fight the IRS alone. The Tax Doctor is here to help you negotiate your tax bill and reduce your stress. The IRS can freeze your assets and seize your bank accounts, but you can stop these IRS actions. The Tax Doctor will work with you using our years of experience to represent your case to help you get the best resolution under the IRS guidelines. Help is here to deal with the IRS to reduce your stress. We've handled thousands of cases, so we know what we're doing. If you owe $10,000 or more in back taxes, do not call the IRS alone. Call a tax doctor now for a tax emergency analysis.
Call 800-224-6439.